What's going on, everyone? So today I'm going to be telling you all why boxing is the best martial art for street fighting, and I'm also going to be showing you all specific exercises in the second half of the video that will help you get a knockout whether you are an amateur or a professional boxer. Now, the second part of this video is only going to be available for 12 hours because there's certain methods that I use that are specific to the fighters that I train. I just want to give you all a glimpse, and the reason I'm posting this video late at night is so people, if they want, they can screenshot that, clip out that video and have that, but I don't want to leave that here on YouTube forever. So if you catch this video within the first 12 hours, you will see the full video. If not, you will see the first half of the video, which is still going to have great information on why boxing is the best martial art for self-defense. So you all see me working the heavy bag here. This is a great way to get some conditioning in. I like to work the heavy bag before I lift weights, and I like to work the heavy bag after I lift weights. Now, I am not a fan of running unless I am getting ready for a fight. And honestly, I'm not sure if I will be fighting ever again. I may do jiu-jitsu in the future, but as far as boxing is concerned, my fighting days may be over. I accomplished my goal having one USA Boxing amateur fight. Won that fight by knockout, so I may be leaving out with a bang, but we will see. Now, the reason boxing is the best martial art for self-defense is because let's say you have multiple attackers that are coming at you. Well, if you're boxing, you can hit one person, you can go on to the next. And the good thing about boxing is footwork is a part of boxing. So you're not just standing there throwing punches at somebody and then standing there and waiting for return fire. No, you're moving around and you are looking for the first sign of safety. Now, your first goal should always be to try to avoid conflict, but many times that may not be the case. You may not be able to avoid conflict, or you can just run away from the dispute. Now, again, that may not be possible depending on where you are. Now, with boxing, you can hit somebody, you can spark them up, and then get away. So you don't stand there and just try to beat on someone. That is not the goal of boxing. It does teach you great self-defense, how to protect yourself. And another thing, boxing helps you learn how to take a punch, because yes, taking a punch is a real skill. Some people do not understand what punches feel like until they get hit. And that's the reason a lot of people decide not to box, because they are like, I'm absolutely not about to be getting punched in my face repeatedly, and it feels like this. Now, in addition to boxing being the best martial art for self-defense, in my opinion, of course, I also think boxing is the best martial art for conditioning. Now, with boxing, you have a mixture of both aerobic and anaerobic conditioning. So that's why you see many boxers, they'll run their miles, but you also see boxers that will do things like run hill sprints, run stairs, different things like that. So it's tapping into both systems of cardio, the aerobic and the anaerobic, which is going to optimize your overall fitness level. Like in the past, I've done bodybuilding, but when I transitioned over to boxing, I felt like I was completely out of shape. And I played basketball growing up, but boxing was just something completely different. Now, I've trained with other professional athletes from other sports, and they specifically said that boxing was the hardest sport that they've ever done. And it's mainly because of the conditioning. Now, I do realize that a round of boxing is 2 minutes. Well, if you're amateur, but if you're more at the elite level in amateurs, it's 3 minutes. And if you're a professional, it's 3 minutes. MMA is 5 minutes. However, the maximum amount of rounds in an MMA match is 5 rounds, which is a total of 25 minutes. The maximum amount of rounds in a boxing match is 12 rounds, which is 36 minutes. So that right there should tell you that aerobic system has to be up to par as well, especially if you want to not only last to the end of the fight, but if you want your power to carry over to the end of the fight. Now, some tips when working the bag. So I'm getting back into my bag work. It's been a while since I've hit the bag consistently, so my form is not, the best right now, but I'm taking things slow, taking my time, trying to make sure that I'm turning my punches over. So the bag is meant to work on your form and your technique. And then as my form gets back to rare form, gets back to what it used to be when I was fighting, then I'll start to speed things up, and I will throw more punches. So with the heavy bag, it's good because you can work your way up. And as you can see, that heavy bag moves. So you want to treat that like that's your opponent. You're moving with that heavy bag. Again, you're not a stationary target. Now, this is going to be great cardio just for the average person, or even if you're a fighter, the heavy bag is great cardio because you're having to constantly move. Well, you should be constantly moving, and you are throwing punches. So every, I would say 2 to 3 seconds, you want to try to get some punches out. That way you're maximizing your cardio and you're not just wasting time on the bag. Now, if you're working on specific things on that particular day on the bag, then yes, it's perfectly fine to take longer than 2 to 3 seconds before you are letting those punches go. Now, as far as power goes on the bag, you want to pick your power shots, because if you're just trying to unload on the bag and throw power nonstop, then you are going to get exhausted. So that's the good thing about the bag. You can kind of simulate what it will be like actually fighting an opponent, and you will have to, have some balance in there. Pick your shots. You're throwing jabs, you're throwing power shots. It can't just be all power. Even though I know some people think like, all right, let me just go load up on the bag for a good 30 seconds. Hey, 30 seconds might be a street fight, but if you want to learn how to box and actually build that endurance, then you need to be able to go a minimum of 3-minute rounds while throwing consistently and moving your feet.